All Things Jira, and I'm back with another story. Now, this story is going to be a little bit different than some of the things I've done on my channel up to this point. I'm really interested in different creation stories, different stories from other cultures and religions and areas about how they believe the world and people were created. So I'm really interested in that. So I wanted to kind of share some of those stories that I found. The first story is the Yoruba creation story. So before I get into the story, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and please share. Let me give you my disclaimer. Many creation stories from other cultures and religions were initially told orally. They were told orally and passed down through the generations before they were actually written down. So my account of the story may be slightly different than a story that you have heard from the same culture. So there are going to be little details here and there that are different. Some of them may be big details, but that's because the stories were told orally for so long before they were actually written down. Storytelling is like an art in a lot of cultures. The premise is all the same, but some of the small details may be a little different. So like I said, the first story is the Yoruba creation story. The Yoruba people are a group of people that inhabit the western part of Africa, mainly living in southwestern Nigeria. The Yoruba people are one of the 3 largest ethnic groups in Nigeria. There are over 40 million Yoruba people in Nigeria today. In the beginning, there was only the sky above and the water below. And they were both ruled by the Orisha. Now, the Orisha is a council of mighty gods. One of the Orisha, named Olorun, was the god of the sky. Olorun ruled the sky, and Olokun was the master of all the waters. Another member of the Orisha, named Obatala became bored from exploring the heavens and the sky, so he asked for permission from Olorun to create dry land, and Olorun gave him permission to do so. Obatala went to Orunmila, who was also one of the Orisha. Orunmila was one of the wisest of the Orisha and also the god of prophecy. So Obatala went to Orunmila to ask for advice. And the advice that Orunmila gave him was a few things that he was going to need in order to create dry land. He told him, you will need a long gold chain, a snail's shell full of sand, a white hen, a black cat, and a palm nut. When Obatala gathered all of the things he needed, he put them in a bag. He hung the gold chain from a corner in the sky and began to climb down the chain. He climbed down for a really long time until he reached the bottom of the chain. He poured the sand out of the shell and he let the hen out of the bag. The hen landed on the sand and immediately began to peck and scratch. Now, as the hen pecked and scratched, the hen scattered the sand all over. And this started to create piles in the sand. The bigger piles created mountains and hills, and the smaller piles created valleys. So Obatala came down off of the gold chain and planted the palm nut that he had. Immediately when he planted the nut, a palm tree sprang up. That tree dropped some nuts that went into the ground and they sprang up trees, and so on and so forth. And this carried on until eventually there was a huge forest of palm trees in front of Obatala. So Obatala looked around at the things that he had done at this point and he was very pleased. Obatala and the black cat began to explore the land and they lived there for months before Obatala got bored again. Now at this point I saw another account that said that Obatala drank from a river, and when he drank from the river he saw his reflection in the water and he liked it, and he immediately began to form clay figures made in his image. As he was shaping these figures, he tapped a palm tree and created palm wine. He started to drink this wine as he created figure after figure. Now, he didn't realize this as he was shaping the figures, but he became drunk from drinking the palm wine. But he continued to shape figure after figure after figure. When he was done shaping all of the figures, he asked Olorun to breathe life into the figures that he had shaped. The next day, Obatala realized what he had done. He realized that he was drunk while he was making these figures, so the figures weren't coming out perfectly as he had hoped. A lot of them were deformed, they were missing body parts, they just weren't right. So he was sober now and he began to shape figures again. And these figures he shaped perfectly in his image. And again, he went to Olorun to breathe life into these figures that he had created. Immediately when life was breathed into these figures, they began to build houses and cities. Obatala was extremely proud of the things that he had created, the deformed and disabled figures that he had created the first day, and the perfect figures that he created the second day. And he became the god of all people on earth, especially the disabled. All of the Orisha were extremely proud of the work that Obatala had done in creating the earth and creating people, all except Olakun. Olakun was never consulted on the creation of earth or mankind, so this made Olakun extremely angry. Olakun caused a great flood that decimated the land and nearly killed all of the people that Obatala had created. Eventually, the waters receded and the population of the earth began to grow again and people began to advance once more. From that point on, everyone took the ocean extremely seriously, and Olakun was consulted in all matters. So what do you think about that story? A lot of the creation stories that I've researched at this point, they all have very similar storylines. Most of the creation stories that I will tell predate the Christian version of the creation story. I'm not even sure if I'm going to tell the Christian version. I mean, I feel like that's a very common creation story that most people already know that. If I do tell that story, it'll probably be from a different perspective or maybe in more detail than what we typically hear. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in hearing. And let me know if you know of other creation stories that I should tell. If your culture or your religion has a particular creation story that isn't really widely known, let me know and I'll research it and tell that story. If you've heard other versions of the Yoruba story, make sure you leave in the comments, the details that are different. I'm really interested in the creation stories, so I'm really excited about adding that to my channel and having that become a regular theme, maybe once a month, telling a different creation story. I really appreciate you all for watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and please share. I will see you all back here next Wednesday at 10:15. Thank you guys so much. Bye.